This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
You're in a good place now. Relax, breathe, smile. You've entered into your element, the home of origin, the home of intelligence and beauty, where relevant topics are discussed, where what you think counts, and where superior is the norm. You are listening to Perspectives with Ashley Berges.
Hey, welcome back to Perspectives, live here with Ashley Berges on 570 KLIF and on iHeartRadio. Yeah, we're here for you. We're here for you. We are here for you. It is Sunday. It is Labor Day weekend, everybody. Happy Labor Day. And, we have an amazing show for you tonight. And, we've been talking about purpose. We've been talking about love. We've been talking about moving past these barriers we have to success. We've been talking about doing the right thing, understanding what that right thing is, and, bettering ourselves. Every minute, trying to better ourselves. Instead of sliding down that slippery slope of problems, of issues, and, basically negativity, we're really working to better ourselves on a daily basis. It's not about you being better than your neighbor. It's not about you being better than those people you see on the crazy talk shows about who is the father of the child. It's not about that. It's not about, look at, Springer, or look at Maury Povich. Those people have some real problems. My life is so much better than their life. Well, you know what? Great. I'm glad you're winning that contest because that's kind of BS, right? I mean, really. And it's not about them. I mean, and who even knows that it's real? I mean, the thing is that it's, maybe it is, maybe it's not. Even if it is real, the point is that it doesn't matter. You can't compete against those people because it's not going to help you in any way. For maybe a short second when you're hungover on the couch after a long partying night, maybe it might help you feel better. But does it really feel better? Before we get into purpose in you, let's really discuss the world. Let's discuss what's really happening. You know what? I really want to discuss how much we as Americans and all over the world, because I realize there are some folks in India listening as well as the UK, and I do appreciate y'all listening tonight. So let's talk about how much we as a world love beer. Beer. Last week we discussed about me giving up colas, about soft drinks and sodas, and me giving up the whole cola thing, and the way I was feeling and the experiences I was having. And, there was the top 10 caffeine withdrawal symptoms we talked about, the headaches. They were really, really awful. The irritability, the depression, the lack of concentration, the flu-like symptoms. Getting off caffeine and getting off these soft drinks was really hard. And it was kind of depressing, but I made it through. And like I talked about last week, hey, if you are going through depression and you're dealing with this stuff on a day-to-day basis already, talk to your physician about that before you just jump off cold turkey. I have this thing about cold turkey. I think that it's the best thing to do because otherwise you just kind of get into that habit of, I'll just have another one. Or, I had 10, but now I'm down to 9. 9's good. Yeah, and so you get into the slippery slope effect of really not changing anything, just making these little stupid contests with yourself,
Because you're giving yourself some wiggle room, right? I mean,
exactly,
it's
Bill.
like,
exactly.
Well, I'm going to back off and, only have this much. But
folks, this is Bill. Bill, my producer. So so what? So you're talking about how you would deal with a situation like that.
Well, actually, now before I answer that though, go back a second because and by the way, when you told me this, I just about fainted here.
No, I don't want to go there right yet. I don't want to go there yet.
Okay.
I want to go there with you because I'm going to go there right now though.
Okay.
It's with heavy heart. It's with a heavy heart tonight, guys, that we begin this discussion. Yeah.
I know, huh?
It's so sad. As a tear runs down my face, and it's been years of a love-hate relationship. I mean, some of the best relationships in our life are love-hate. I gave up one of my good friends. A good friend and an enemy. Beer. All kinds of beers. Beers of all kinds. Every beer. Final. Finito. Done. Oh, my gosh. I know. I mean, Borowski, you're over here with your mouth, hanging down and looking at me like, my God, woman, what have you done?
It's sad. It breaks my heart. It really, really does. I mean, I'm not much of a beer drinker myself. I prefer the Diet Coke or the Coke with Mr. Daniels. Mr. Daniels is he's a good old longtime friend of mine. But,
and his partner, Jimmy Beam.
Yeah, not so much on that one.
Okay.
The Canadian cousin.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Hey.
Mr. Royal.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah. But, that is just sad. I mean, especially you were talking about this before we got on. It's college football season.
Well, and yes, exactly. And I mean, you ask, good questions about why would I go and dump my good friend? Why would I dump my good friend on the side of the road with no beneficiary, no love, an empty cold mug just sitting there on the side of the road. Visualize that. Visualize that cold mug. And not here in Texas, obviously. It wouldn't be cold for more than a second. But visualize the mug in its entirety just sitting there on the side with a little sign that says, I'm free. You can take me. This isn't a garage sale. This is free. For as long as I can remember, I would have a beer, and I wouldn't feel that well. I wouldn't feel that good. I figured out that was something I ate that day. I must have been having some sort of issues. I'm a woman, so you know how women have issues all the time, as well as environmental issues. Maybe it was something in the air that completely made me ill after I took a couple of sips of beer. And I was like, there's no way. There's no way it's beer. I mean, I've had long conversations with friends of mine saying, you know what, you really need to think about this, Ashley, because I think you have an allergic reaction to beer. I'm like, just shut up.
Yeah, don't even go there.
Just don't do this. I mean, we have a friendship.
You're like, la, 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 la.
I mean, really, do you want to really be in my car? I mean, we have a 3-hour, drive left, Maybe I could just let you out on the side of the road. And you think about what you thought about the beer situation. Because maybe if you can just dump beer, you could probably dump me as a friend, right? Yeah.
But I mean, just set the context though. Back then, I mean, how much beer per day per week?
Well, I mean, it wasn't okay. Okay, so this is my concept of beer. It's like you think about a hot day and you pull in the frozen mug, out of the freezer. You're getting the beer, you opening, get the opener out of the drawer, right? You're popping it open, you're pouring it into the frozen mug. And your hands are kind of stuck to the mug because it's so cold. You know how it sticks? Oh,
that's the best kind.
You know what I'm saying? It sticks, and you're like, wonder if I stuck my tongue on there, would it stick? But instead of prying the mug from your hands, right, you're not that mad about that. You're not mad about it. Normally, that would really, really upset you. But you begin to drink the beer. It's cold. It's, it goes down fast. Yum. And I can taste it right now, and I haven't had a beer, and I don't know, it's been since July. And I remember being in a car talking to a friend of mine, and he told me about why I should stop drinking beer. And I mean, he got off the sauce because he had a drinking problem, which is a little different than being allergic to it. I get like the itches, the scratches, the back scratches, my throat starts kind of closing up a little bit. And then I start getting this thing where I can't breathe.
Oh, well, that's serious. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but I waited years because I thought there's no way that this friend of mine could be causing these problems.
Now, which particular friend was it?
Oh my gosh.
I mean, are you drinking the cheap American domestic stuff? Or are you drinking the fancy stuff?
Yeah,
Okay.
Buddy
Microbrew,
Weiser,
ale, lagers.
Man, I'm glad you asked that question because, my buddy went by a lot of different names, right? So you had Amstel, Coors, Miller Lite, that Buddha, Corona,
Not hearing a good one yet.
Pacifico, Tecate, Singha, 33, Sapporo, Kirin Light, Shinerbach.
I
I know that's Bill's favorite.
Yes.
And, Miller Lite, at a game. And that's what's so upsetting is like at a random tailgating or at a pregame festival at the festivities. Okay, so let's go to this weekend.
Okay.
God giveth the strength for me to carry on this conversation right now. Okay, really honestly. I attended the SMU Texas Tech game. And it was awesome. And, for our Perspectives listeners that I actually saw out there, too, it was great. It was about 105 degrees in Texas, guys. And so I know a lot of people that don't live in Texas and don't experience 105, doesn't know what that is, and it's hot.
105 in the shade, by the way.
Oh, was it in the shade?
That was the air temperature.
Wow, that's why we were all sweating. On Saturday, I attended the LSU, Louisiana State University, the Fighting Tigers, and versus TCU at Jerry's World, a.k.a. Cowboys Stadium, a.k.a. the AT&T Stadium now. There you go. Well, I thought it was going to be difficult in general because, just in general, but life with football. Holy hand grenade, Superman. It takes a big man. A big woman. A woman, okay, for stopping beer and be able to rise above it. And it was rough at these last two games. It was rough.
Yeah, let me ask you, how exactly did you feel in the crowd being sober where it's a college football game? Unless you're a freshman underage, you are definitely partaking of the alcoholic beverages.
And especially with the LSU fans in attendance, they are not known for their sobriety.
Oh, no.
Okay, well, first off, yes, you're right. But when I was a freshman in college, I found a way to drink at all costs. Whether it was, Keystone Tall Boys or whether it was Natty Light. You got the natural light.
Oh, good old Natty Light.
Good old Natty, like Purple
that's
Passion.
That's
Purple
one of the most
Passion.
unenforced laws on the books, isn't it? The underage drinking. That's one of the things about having a college
It's a
experience.
rite of passage.
You find a way to drink,
Mm-hmm.
even if it's not allowed. You're not allowed to drink.
Well, that's part of it because everybody else is doing it. And to answer that question, Borowski, that's a good question because, the thing is that it's really hard. And I think for anybody listening, for all our listeners listening, you understand how hard it is to be sober in an area where everybody is not sober. Okay? It's like, why am I here? I ended up eating a large bowl of Dippin' Dots ice cream. I haven't had Dippin' Dots in like 5 years. It gave me an instantaneous woo! And then just a crash. Because I can't drink soft drinks. So somebody was trying to share me some of their rum, but it was in a soft drink, so can't do, even though I don't really drink rum, though. It's not really my thing.
The problem, though, is that you should have sat with the TCU crowd, the fine, upstanding Christians that those folks are.
Yes, Bill, you're right. I should have,
You should have feared the frog.
Fear the frog. Yeah, I remember when okay, so that's a funny story too. Like we can kind of segue real quick on the football thing. So the funniest thing is that I have season tickets to the SMU games, right? But I didn't go to SMU. So my best friend Paul is the number 11th super fan in the nation on ESPN and the BCS poll, which they do, they poll either 20 or 25 top super fans in the nation, and these people go to every single game. So I think Paul is year 39, hasn't missed one home, one away game, any games that were in Hawaii or Japan. He's made every single game for 39 years straight, no matter if he had the flu, no matter if he had something else he had, and
weddings, funerals, birthdays,
and divorce. And something else. Didn't miss it for anything. And I thought that was wild. That's pretty cool. But I have season tickets partially because of him. Because he just has that love and passion for the game. But, I went to TCU. But my dad went to LSU. And so I was raised as an LSU fan my whole life. And then it came to the point where I was going to choose schools. And, my dad was like, you can't go to LSU. It's a party school. After all this time, I mean, like, all I wore to school was purple and gold. Like, all through, like, middle school and high school, I looked like some sort of raging tiger idiot, you know what I mean? I mean, people would be like, look at those pictures of Berges. There's always purple and gold, you know? She's got LSU. It was like, those were, like, my initials.
Right.
I know, it was awful. I mean, God bless us all, you know what I mean? But so the games were interesting, but yeah, being there was just like all these people with the beers flowing and the beer guys, and there was even guys serving us like in that section till the middle of the fourth quarter until they got yelled at. So it was pretty wild. So there was somebody trying to get me to have a beer, but I did not break. I didn't break, you know, and that's what gets into, you know, our concept. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, I'm taking a bow here, and you know, it talks about our health. You know, we talk about these things and these responsibilities that we have. So yeah, I gave up beer, and I gave it up because, oh my goodness, hold on a second. We're gonna stop, rewind.
I was gonna say
play
record. We got a special.
We have
here.
a special person calling us on line one that we were just talking about. Paul Lane, good to have you here on Perspectives with Ashley Berges live. How are you doing this evening, sir?
I'm great, Ashley. How are you?
I am wonderful. It's awesome to have you on the show tonight.
I was listening and got a little startled. I heard my name, so I thought, I'll call in, and we're so glad to have you sit over in the SMU section have season tickets with us.
Yeah, I love it. So tell our listeners real quick, how many years has it been that you haven't missed a game?
Okay. This starts the 41st of every home and away game. And I think the other night was 435 straight games.
Holy hand grenade.
It's kind of crazy. And I had the chicken pox at age 41.
That's what it was. You had the chicken pox.
And I disguised myself. It happened to be Halloween. So I put on a little...
No way.
Yes, I did. It was that bad.
Wow.
What did you wear?
Teenage outfit.
Yeah.
I went in something that, you know, resembled a scarecrow.
That's awesome.
And I went and sat by myself way away from everybody, so I didn't contaminate anyone.
That's so funny. Everybody was probably like, man, Paul was so rude at that game, just so rude.
But at least he played it safe, and he was considerate of others.
He was considerate. It's like when you don't shake someone's hand when you have the flu.
Yeah. Fist bump for that one.
Yeah, see, we respect that here because you're not trying to put other people, you know, in harm's way. See, that's respectable, Paul, and we really appreciate that because that's what being a good friend is. That's what being a good Samaritan really does.
Well, I was up there all by myself, and then at the start of the second quarter, in came a group of like 30 school kids, and I was the only person in the upper deck section, and they came over and sat like 2 rows in front of me, so I had to get up and move. I hope they didn't think that, you know, I was trying to not make them feel bad that as soon as they got there, I left. But I didn't want to. They're like second graders, so I didn't want them to be exposed. So I hurried up and went and sat by myself on the other part of the stadium. That's
pretty awesome, Paul. Do you mind holding with us and we coming back to you on our second half here? Or?
Of course. And I used to be allergic to beer, but I'm not anymore.
We need to talk about that. Okay, so there we go. That is our entry for our next segment. Hey, y'all, stay tuned. Paul will be with us and join us. And, you know, the whole concept of this show tonight is sometimes you have to give up something to get something a lot bigger. Sometimes life is about that. You got to give up things that you might love that don't specifically help you out. So stay tuned. We got more coming up. We got more conversations with Mr. Lane. We also have more Bill Borowski and Berges here, as well as we have the Perspectives Pulse later on and the Trifecta. So stay tuned. Keep it on 570 KLIF. Or on iHeartRadio, because you know what? Yeah, you're right. We'll be back in 2 shakes.
Turn it up and jump in the deep end on Perspectives with Ashley Berges. The water's warm and there's a swim-up bar. Glass of Perspective, anyone? Now, here's Ashley.
Hey, welcome back to Perspectives, live here with Ashley Berges on 570 KLIF. And on iHeartRadio. You know, we've been talking tonight about giving up beer, me personally giving up beer because of my allergy scenario. But, you know, throughout our lives, we either give up things in our lives which are not working or we keep them around. You know, because when we keep them around, though, we don't continue to really, you know, thrive at a high level. And in order to really thrive and accomplish our goals, right? Hopefully we do have goals. And to find our purpose and to make something awesome really happen in your life, like awesome. We have to give up things that no longer serve a purpose, right? I mean, if they don't serve a purpose, why are you hanging on to it? You know, some of these things get in the way of our life. They get in the way of our living our life. They get in the way of our experiencing of grandeur. They get in the way of clarity, right? They get in the way of complete consciousness. You know, I mean, there is a thought process about complete consciousness. It's about a system. It's about things. It's about producing that in your mind, which you really need to be doing on a daily basis. And being able to understand where you are on the earth, what you're doing to get there, and how you're making it happen. So we're talking about beer, and you know the reason why I gave it up is because I'm really allergic to it. But it wasn't benefiting me because it was actually kind of putting me in bad situations. Like I would have a beer, or like even have a beer, and I'd like start feeling like ill, like not good, and then I would kind of take it out on other people. Talk about irritability. You know, I'd be like, I want to go home. You know, I'm tired. I'm so sick of listening to this stuff. You know.
Shout out, Greg.
Oh, that's sweet, man. Hey, you know, Paul. Okay, so Mr. Lane, are you with us tonight?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so if you are just tuning in here, you realize that Paul Lane had called us. We were actually talking about football. We were talking about how beer functionally becomes a part of football. It's just the way of life, you know. And we were talking about, you know, I was talking about the SMU game, and Paul is, you know, like the number 11 super fan in the nation. I guess he's been to 435 games straight, 435 games straight. And you were talking about right before we got to break that you don't drink beer, or you gave it up, or?
No, I actually used to be allergic, had the same symptoms that you're talking about that you do, like when I was in college and for a number of years after that. And I guess I outgrew that allergy because I actually can drink it now. So that's kind of weird. But I also had other allergies growing up, like food allergies with certain fruits and stuff like that, and I've outgrown those too. So,
is there something?
If you live as long as me, then maybe you'll outgrow it.
That's pretty funny. You know, is there anything though that you kind of like, if you look back into your memory bank of things that you had to give up, you know, were there like, I'm sure you would have to say probably like maybe there were acquaintances and stuff like that in your life you kind of had to, you know, maybe not necessarily kick to the curb, but you kind of had to move past in order to get where you are?
Sure. But I don't know. I depend on my friends a lot too, you know, for where I am. You know, I'm also like a realtor here in town, so most of my clients are friends and people I know, and that helps. But you know, there have been times where if there's just too much negative energy with a certain person, that it's just better to move on.
I understand that negative energy is an issue. I mean, I think we've all experienced that. I mean, Borowski, I mean, Bill, I mean, myself, you experience, you know, negativity. And sometimes you can kind of like flip-flop it around, like in my second book, you know, and live your true life. I talk about how, you know, energy suckers and negativity is how people, sometimes you have to kind of show them. And there's like 12 steps that you go through. And you can kind of flip-flop them around. But eventually, sometimes they might just want to dwell on that. They might not want a solution. And they might want to just talk about that every time. And time is more precious than money.
Yeah, I mean, negative people just kind of suck the room out of the air, don't you think?
Yeah. Like, explain, like, you just feel like you're kind of like can't breathe.
Yeah, like you're being, you know, smothered.
Mm-hmm. I always just feel like I'm kind of getting ill.
Very quickly, I'll tell you just a very quick story. In my previous life in the insurance business, I was a quality control. And so I had a session with this person in a call center, and I swear to you, Ashley, Borowski, and Paul, she had an excuse for the reason why she had excuses.
Really?
I mean, it was that bad.
Wow. I have an excuse for my excuse. Please pardon my excuse.
Yeah.
It knows not what it does.
Yeah. I mean, it was that bad.
I mean, negativity is an interesting thing. Negativity is one of those things that I just don't have time for. I refuse to have time for that. And, you know, also I'm refusing to have time for those things that people bring up to you over and 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 over again. And it's still the same thing. And you've helped them and you've given them advice and everything, and they've never taken it. And I finally realized lately, I go, have you gone to my website? And they'll be like, what? And I'll be like, go to liveyourtruelife.org. And they'll be like, what? I go, you have a pen? And this is people I know, and God bless them, and they'll write it down. And, you know, I know some of y'all out there listening just said, she just talked about me. And, I you know, and it's not a personal thing. This is not didn't just happen to you. But I asked you to write it down, and I said, go read those blogs. And, if you're not too cheap to buy a book, go buy a book and try to, change your life a little bit. And then call me back if you have questions. And all of a sudden, it changes because guess what? You don't have 2 hours to listen to the sob story tonight and tomorrow night and the next night. I mean, I think we've all been there. We all love our friends and family. But sometimes it can be just a little, overwhelming.
That's right.
Yeah. No, I mean,
yes.
it's like it's the type of person where, God bless them, you ask them how their day is going, and they'll tell you. And it's never a happy story.
You know what it is. Hey, Paul, so we really appreciate you coming on here, and we really appreciate you talking with us tonight. And I look forward to being at every SMU game I can possibly go to just to spend time with you.
I know you're trying to catch up with my streak.
Oh, yeah, I got a lot of work to do.
Well, I enjoy your show. I listen all the time, and thank y'all for taking my call.
And well, thank you for listening, because it's listeners like you that make this show so great, because otherwise it wouldn't be that great. So, Paul, I really appreciate you for calling here on Perspectives with Ashley Berges, and I hope that we have really great content in the future that you continue to listen.
I sure will.
Hey, have a good night, sweetheart.
Thank you, Ashley. Thank you, Bill. Bye.
Thank you for calling in. Yeah, so I think we touched on something about the negativity, and I think we're also kind of going into the spiral of the fact that we have to sometimes get to the next level of life, and the only way to do that is to kind of filter things out. I mean, what do you think? I mean, there's got to be a filter.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you definitely have to filter stuff out. When it comes to negativity and negative people, for the most part, those people have no place in my life, daily life, period. I might run into them on occasion on Facebook, and I might just keep an eye on them from afar, because you don't stop caring about somebody, even if you just don't really want to listen to them talk all that much. But for the most part, the people I hang around with, the people that I choose to spend what free time I do have with, are people who really, listen to my concerns, but at the same time lift me up, and then I in turn lift them up, and we have a good time. We keep everything chill and fun and loose, and not let everything just drag us down, because otherwise I'd be sitting here tonight going, oh, I hate my life. I've been working all weekend. I have no sleep.
Hey, Ashley, oh my God, dude. I don't feel good, man. Yeah, I mean, we're talking about lower vibrational stuff here tonight, and I think I put that on some sort of post or some sort of tweet or something, and about 90 or 100 of y'all responded. There was a couple of y'all said, man, that's deep. And I get it, it's deep, but we were talking about higher and lower vibrational stuff. So we're going to talk more about that here later on in the rest of our hour. We got more stuff to talk about, giving up stuff to benefit oneself, and I was like, it's like smoking, it's like drinking to excess, it's like drugs, it's like negative relationships. It's like really just being around using or lower vibrational folks. And Borowski and Bill really gave some good concepts, because it really is all about being around people that really lift you up because you do the same. It's give and take. It's quality relationship. It's not just all give and all take, because you know what, that doesn't work, because in the end, if you're giving all the time, you're going to get mad and you're going to get upset and you're going to feel used, because you are being used, okay? It's not a question of, oh, do you think they know what they're doing? Do you think they know what they're doing? Yes, they know what they're doing. Okay, to some rational degree, they do know. And if they are that completely unconscious, you need to run. Okay, because they might forget who you are. If they have no idea what they're doing, they might forget who you are. So you need to kind of walk away from that relationship and better your life. So we're going to talk about more of that stuff later on. We're going to be talking with about the trifecta and about some technology, about some cool stuff that's going on. We also have their Perspectives Pulse as well, so don't miss that. And you know what? Stay tuned. So keep us on 570 or keep us on iHeart. And guess what? Yeah, we'll be back in 2 shakes.
Get in here and give us your perspective. We're listening. You're listening to Perspectives with Ashley Berges.
Welcome back to Perspectives Live. We're here with Ashley Berges in the house on 570 KLIF and on iHeartRadio. You know what's cool is that we've been talking tonight about quality. We've been talking about quality versus quantity. We've been talking about some quality crap here, okay? About having quality friends, about having quality relationships, about giving and taking. There's a big difference between having a lot of things versus having the best of things. So you know what time it is, right? It seems to be Pulse time.
It's Pulse time, the Perspectives Pulse.
Well, obviously, it's perspectives, and obviously, we're in the Perspectives Pulse. So, JR, I'm so glad to have you on this evening again, as usual, and I'm looking forward to knowing what your networking tip of the week is. So, will you share that with our audience now?
Glad to, Ashley. Today's tip has to do with quantity versus quality. And if you've ever been to one of the Dallas networking events that's kind of big out there, maybe the last Tuesday happy hour or one like this, you'll see some people that are in it for the quantity. They're going around with their cards. They got a stack of cards to give out in one hand and a stack of cards they collected in the other. And I'm not necessarily recommending this. Matter of fact, I'd suggest people go the other way, that it might be better to have two really good conversations that night or that day or that lunch or that breakfast with someone that you connect with and can perhaps help one another in the future than it is to walk out with 200 names and emails that you're going to blast and spam and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm going to try to sell them anything I can, possibly. No, but honestly, it's like you have like this like set of cards, and it becomes like kind of a joke. And for women, we have these purses, and they're huge, and you have all this stuff in it. And the last thing you find are all these cards that you collected like from several nights before. Half the time, you don't even remember exactly what card goes to who. And it's like so much better to make an interconnection, a connection with somebody. But I think that extrapolates to life as well.
It really does. You know, there are so many ways to communicate today with social media, email, any other kind of mass media that's available to the individual. And a lot of us are tempted to turn to those. And those can work in some scenarios, but in general, what I teach, I preach, I suggest to people in business and personal and nonprofits is to build relationships that will last. Every introduction is the beginning of a lifelong relationship if that's what your intent is about.
I totally agree with that. You know, a lot of people say that friendships and relationships are seasons. And yeah, I'm assuming that there are some that kind of go through their, ups and downs, as well as some that might just matricle off, I guess, for sure. But I think a lot of times we have relationships, as long as we make them crucial and lasting, they'll be around for a lifetime, because it's not about take. It's about give as well.
Correct. And the tools that we can use to blast out and spam like social media can actually serve the purpose in this relationship model we're discussing, because it helps us keep up with one another. So I may not be able to call you or meet you today, but seeing that update on Facebook about a picture of you and your dog or cat or at the lake or whatever it is helps renew that relationship and keep that relationship warm in between the times when we do see each other or talk.
I totally agree, JR. And as usual, I really appreciate you coming on. Don't forget, folks, that if you go online to www.liveyourtruelife.org, again, liveyourtruelife.org, you can find all the events that JR will be attending, as well as I might be attending some. And we got this month deal that we're going to have our whole, we're actually going to go live to an event each month, and that could be your actual event. So let us know if you're interested in us being at your upcoming event. So thank you so much, JR, for coming on this evening. And I look forward to having you next Sunday, where you give us more information on how to network and how to do it the right way. Because we definitely don't want to do it. We definitely don't want to do it the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? I mean, but we were talking about quality and quantity earlier. We were talking about that kind of stuff. We were talking about building really cool relationships. We were talking about eliminating those lower vibrational stuff. And we're going to talk more about that later on here in our next segment. But right now, in a new segment that I really love doing, which is the trifecta. Yeah, I love horses. I like the word trifecta. It's one of my favorite words in the world. I can't even explain it. I got home last Sunday, actually, and I was like, I opened my door, and like part of the newspaper, I guess, had fallen on the ground when I was going to recycle it. And it was like some coupon thing from Subway, and it had the Subway trifecta. And I said, that is just ironic. Anyway, so let's talk. Last time we were talking about the iPhones, like the new iPhone. I really kind of wanted that gold iPhone, but I don't know. I got a friend of mine that needs to get the plastic one like real bad, because I think they're on like phone 4 in 2 months. So, Borowski, you were telling me that there's like some sort of buyback program, right? That you can do something with your phone.
Absolutely. When the new iPhone 5S, whatever they're going to call it, comes out, which supposedly is going to be revealed at a September 10th event and can go on sale around September 20th, Apple is going to buy back your old one, which they act like this is something new. They've been doing that ever since the 3G iPhone came out.
What?
Yeah, I mean, like Radio Shack, even Apple would do a buyback program.
For how much?
According to this, you can get anywhere from $120 to $250 or so, depending on the condition of the device, what model it is, and other factors. Bill, you're running on the
3GS.
The 3GS, you're going to get maybe a quarter.
I was going to say, I'm screwed.
Half-price books prices right there,
Yeah.
hon. I mean, nothing against half-price books, guys. But, you can get cheap, cool stuff there. Okay, anyway, but go ahead.
And you've had that phone for more than enough time to have an upgrade. You could get the new one, right?
Yeah, dude,
Really?
what's going on with you?
Can you do that? Can you upgrade?
I think so.
Wow.
Supposedly.
One at a time. I just installed indoor plumbing last week. So don't rush me on that.
He got a
come on, you gotta
ceiling
get with the
fan
times.
last month, guys. Okay, we're in it to win it. AC's coming in like couple years. But,
all right. Well,
but how
hey,
much? So they can buy back the phone, and then you get this new phone.
You'll get a credit towards the new one, which if you use your upgrade, it's going to be basically free. If you have to pay more, then you're going to pay more, and da-da-da. It's all technical cell phone mumbo jumbo that I just let the sales rep handle it. I just say, okay, gimme, how much? Swipe the card. I'm good to go.
I'm addicted to Apple. Oh my gosh. Okay, no, I do like Apple stuff a lot. I love it a lot. It's like one of my things, I always liked it. And I had like one of the first iPhones. I mean, okay, I had one of the first iPhones, like, I don't know, 500,000 other people did like the same month. Like everybody got it. And I did not stand in line. Okay, I did not. I just walked into an AT&T store and I got my 3. I remember that. And everybody's like, "Whoa!" And you didn't want to take off that little top part because you're like, "Ooh, the screen's going to be protected this way." It's like such a big deal. Remember? Yeah. Oh my gosh, you kept the box? Okay, I kept every one of my iPhone boxes, by the way, so I'm not going to lie.
My brother-in-law, his house, I swear, is a shrine to Steve Jobs.
Oh, I like that.
Phones, iPhones, iPads, iPods, the Macs. I mean, he's got them like built in a shrine in one corner of his living room.
Now, does he have the old school Apple IIe?
He doesn't, but my grandmother does.
Oh, that's awesome.
She has the
Really?
2E, and she still uses it.
That's street cred right there.
Dude, I want to see it.
I mean, it's it's
Can
like
I
a museum
upload
piece
a picture to it?
now. I mean, with the big 5 1/4 floppy disk.
No, that's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I mean, old technology is cool. It is cool. I mean, but you were talking about, okay, Ross, you were talking about some game. Okay, so I'm not into Android, guys, but I have to be politically correct here. We're got to bring up both platforms here, I guess. But you said there was some game called Ingress that's on that phone.
Oh, see, the great thing about the Android phone platform, which you two cannot experience,
not too many accolades,
is the fact that it is open source and people are able to, create ideas and put their ideas out there for people to try. And Motorola released a few new phones. One of them is called the Motorola Droid Ultra, which is available on Verizon. I don't have Verizon, so I'm not going to be getting this phone. But this new Android phone comes with the Ingress augmented reality game preloaded on it, which that game right now from Niantic Labs, which is a Google offshoot, is in closed beta testing right now. And they're talking about taking it public and going live sometime next year. But this game actually makes you go out into the world, see things, and talk to people. It's not like the Facebook games where people send you a request and you can sit at your computer all day playing Castleville and Farmville and Candy Crush Saga. No, this game actually gets you out into the world. Ashley, you're the type that you like to go out. You go out into the world. You see the world. You talk to people.
Yeah, I like seeing. I know what you're saying. Yeah, I do like to go out and I like to just do new things and just like have fun and meet new people and do crazy stuff. Like just show up somewhere and just see what's up. Get to know people differently. Where they're at. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't make people come to you. You kind of go check it out.
Exactly, and this game does exactly that. You actually go out into the world, and the way that you meet people literally is you see people obsessing over their phone screen while walking in the same general area that you are. Because I've actually played this game. Yeah, it's actually pretty fun. You can just call them out by you have a com name or an agent name, so you're not identifiable by your actual name.
Now, wait a minute, though. I'm not sure I like this after all.
Why is that?
Because don't people have their heads buried in their phones enough as it is?
Yes.
And now it's going to be even worse?
Oh, but you're getting exercise while you're doing this.
Yeah, these people are going to blunder into a wall or to some, old lady at the mall or something like that.
It's not that bad. Not that bad. Because true nerds
Like yourself.
Can absorb their surroundings and be mindful of their surroundings.
True nerds, but how many of them are there? Not a lot.
A lot more than you know. A lot more than you know.
Well, maybe so, but still, I mean, you get my point here. Is there's enough wannabe nerds, that are going to try this.
Nerds. You always think they're so smart,
and they're going to plow into some old lady, with their shopping bags, and bang.
Yeah, those mean people. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I feel so bad. No, but what's the concept? What's the reason behind the game? I mean, before we go to break, we need to go to break soon, but what's the reason behind it? Like, what is it kind of designed for? Do you get points for meeting people, or how does that work?
You get points for taking over portals and creating what they call control fields. The gameplay consists of either defending against the takeover of the human race by an unknown quote-unquote shaper force, or depending on your perspective, assisting and enlightenment of mankind through the alliance with these aliens. The world has been populated with exotic matter.
Wow.
Like I said, imagine capture the flag with risk and actually having to go out into the world. I mean,
wow.
This game actually made me see areas that I knew were there but never really got to go experience, like the Mustangs in Las Colinas. Really spending a good afternoon walking down Main Street Grapevine with a cigar, just playing this game.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
there was like a game you could play like back in the day. I remember, Jake Busey, Christie, actually there was a game that you could play. It was on iPhone. And you could actually click on it. It was like a scavenger hunt thing, and you could find stuff that people had left, and you would find it. You'd go to like these places, and you get closer and closer to it. And I remember one time we found like this box, and there was these things in it. And all the people that had come there already had left notes, and you were supposed to take something and then put something in there. It was really cool, and it was out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, like this is in LA, like in the Hollywood Hills, and it's like behind some like abandoned like shed area, and it was crazy underneath a rock, and it was all in plastic so that it wouldn't get rained on, and it was cool, and it had like little notes from every single person that had been there, and it's kind of neat. I mean, this kind of reminds me of that, but it kind of cooler.
A little bit, and especially with this being all virtual. That's the really cool part about it, is that you're just walking by someplace and local points of interest. And this is a global game, by the way. This is not just regionalized here in the States. This is a global game, and the point is to control the globe in this virtual world, and that is loaded onto these new Verizon Motorola Droid phones, and it comes with 5 other invites for you to invite your friends and play, which is awesome because you get out into the world.
Well, Borowski, we're going to have to play this, and we're going to have to find it on iPhone. Hey, this has been an awesome trifecta. We're going to take a break real quick. Keep us on 570 KLIF or on iHeartRadio. We got a little bit more to go. We got a little bit more about purpose, and we got a little bit more about reality versus virtual. Stay tuned. Guess what? We'll be back in 2 shakes.
This is Jake Busey, and you're listening to Perspectives with Ashley Berges on 570 KLIF.
Well, thank you, Jake Busey. Hey, welcome back to Perspectives, live here with Ashley Berges on 570 KLIF and on iHeartRadio. We've had a great show tonight. We've been talking about technology. We've been talking about giving up things that don't work anymore in our life. Sometimes things just don't serve a purpose anymore. And when we keep them around, what do? They kind of like muck and yuck up the system. It's kind of like trying to think of a good example off the top of my head, which is most of this stuff comes right off the top of my head or by the seat of my pants or whatever, whichever side you want to talk about. Anyway, point is that a lot of times we keep things around longer than they need to be, right? It's kind of like dirty laundry. Eventually, you got to go do the laundry. Eventually, the smell test doesn't work anymore.
People prefer the devil they know to the devil they don't.
Exactly. They would rather keep the old crap going day after day after day after day instead of, okay, maybe I feel alone. Maybe I feel like I don't have a lot of friends, or maybe I don't feel like I have somebody to talk to, but I'd rather just deal with this yuck instead of just forging my own way. I think that the only way you can make progress is by sometimes removing the issues, cutting out the fat, and being honest with yourself and sitting there and saying, hey, I might have these feelings, but as a human being, I'm going to want to run. At first, I'm going to think, oh, I'm so powerful because I left this situation. Look at me, pat on the back. Woo, look at me, I'm so powerful. Oh, my gosh. And then like 3 days go by and you go, oh, my gosh. Yeah, I'm going to have to call them. Yeah, I wonder what they're doing. I wonder if they're doing something. I wonder what they're eating. What are they doing? And then you get into the same relationship again, and guess what? You hate it. I mean, you know what I'm talking about, Borowski. I mean, you hate it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you absolutely hate it because you just feel so drained and beat down after everything. I mean, you can go a while without talking to them, but then you just get beat down again because you just see the same pattern, and you tell them you just want to take them and shake them, just shake them really, really, really hard.
You know, actually, what especially bothers me is that I have some female friends who will gripe and moan and groan about the type of guys they're attracted to, but keep going back to those type of guys. I don't get it.
Yep. It's just a thing. It's their shtick. That's what they do. And I mean, the thing is, you could sit there and tell them, I don't know why you're doing this. You're too good of a person to do this. You're too good of a person. They should know what they have. You know what? But they don't know what they have. I mean, you can tell somebody up and down all day, you're the best person. Oh, everybody should love you. Oh, you're so pretty. Oh, my gosh, you're so smart. Well, if they don't know that they're so pretty and they don't know they're so smart, you know what's sad? They don't get it. So it doesn't matter. They're going to keep going out for the same, and I hate to use the word, losers every time because those people treat them as bad as they want to be treated because they don't deserve happiness. They're not good. I mean, honestly, we got a lot of stuff to talk about next week. We got things coming up. You know what? This whole concept of tonight, and this whole show was really dedicated to everybody that's listening that's given up something for something much bigger. You've gone through the pain, you've gone through the suffering of giving it up. And for our listeners who are struggling to sometimes overcome that something, you can do it. I believe in you. And if you believe in it and you believe in you, you can do it. So we want to say goodnight and look forward to seeing you and hearing from you next Sunday on Perspectives with Ashley Berges on 570 KLIF and on iHeartRadio. And, you know, between Borowski, Bill, and Berges, we hope you have a great rest of your Labor Day weekend. And good night, guys, and look forward to next Sunday.